All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kodash. All right, the honors to the apostles and others that removed stolen who well and taught us 100% truth. Much peace and blessings be unto you, hopefully. Like the Pish, not this word of thought, truth, and sincerity to all you Akim and say Shalom. All right, so it's going to be a live sit down going into the mentality of these people, man, because what happens with these people is that when they see something on the news, they automatically get scared. But after a week or so, they forget, man. All right, and they go back straight back into that sleep that they were once in. And I brought this point out in the lesson I did earlier last night. But Spirit guided me to do a revision, if you will. Going to that, what happened was that I was on a camp, so the camp location, and it takes me about 20 minutes to walk back and forth. All right, per time. So I went to the camp location. I forgot my garment. So then I tried to do a live, live walking talk as I went home. But even that wouldn't work, man. All right, because easily messing with my phone, man. But Lord will, this stream does get through, and I'm gonna get into the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, verse 7. All right, and actually I'm gonna re-entitle this video "Ignorance is Bliss," with the quotation marks, because that's the mindset of these people, man. All right, they want to be in that. They want to be in that of sleep. That, they ultimately with their being opinions, they say that it's better for them to not know anything, than to know. All right, but that's not true. All right, because having this truth is the best thing you could ever have. Right, having the understanding of what's been going on throughout the world is the best thing you could ever have. And the outcome with this truth. All right, the word of Yahweh will show with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So we have the answers, and man, that's the best thing you could ever have. The answers to everything. All right, the answers as to what are the so-called UFOs near. All right, the answers as to what's going to happen, in the coming days. All right, the answer to how the kingdom's going to happen and whatnot. All right, we have all the answers, man. So again, we can never stress. We always stress out. We can't stop giving thanks, man, if you will. The water Yahweh Shemel Shai, call Allah Yahweh Shemel Shai. But anyways, going to the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, verse 7, it reads, "How much she hath glorified herself, and is going into Babylon the Great." All right, which in the scriptures, in these chapters, she's likened into a woman, right? That great whore. So, how much she hath glorified herself, and she has glorified herself, man, and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Our that's the mentality of this damn devil, Esau Edom. Like, he thinks that he could go on forever if he's given more time, but you're already living on borrowed time, and that time is almost up, man. All right, we believe that this will be the last year, and Lord will, things turn up to the point where World War III pops off, literally, man. All right, not just some BS, stagnant news, if you will, about what's happening within Ukraine. We want to see actual, action, man. All right, we want to see that MLTB actually come to pass instead of just, so-called rumors, if you will, which really ain't rumors because it's already unveiled. But we don't want to hear teasers. We want to see it actually be implemented in society right now, rolled out in America, man. All right, we want Jacob's will to come to pass. All right, because Jake needs mercy killing, if you will, man, for all the wickedness that they have done, man. I can't even walk to camp without feeling sick, man. You can't even walk to the store without feeling sick. All you feel is bad vibrations. Why? Because it's your turn up. Everything's turned up to the max, and you freaking sense those demons, man. On Jake, man. They're really sick, man. They are really sick, which is why they need mercy killing. So when Jacob's pops off, we're really gonna give thanks, man. Why? Because we're gonna see all this judgment we follow Jake, man, and that's why it's called Jacob's trouble. All right, because it's gonna be a great disaster for Jake, man. He's gonna go out forth and seeking him. But going back. Verse 8, therefore shall their plagues come in one day, death and mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord Yahweh who judgeth her. Right? So all this is going to befall you, man. All right, this is all the punishment, all right? And they're sending scourge for amendment, which that word scourge basically means a punishment inflicted, which I forgot to bring my Zondervan Bible dictionary at the house. But, it breaks down what the word scourge means. As a matter of fact, so like I just did it out right now, but adding on to verse 8, it says that she shall be utterly burned with fire. Why? Because that ultimate judgment, which is that thermonuclear destruction, will literally befall America, man. All right, because we understand through the scriptures, with the spirit of Yahweh Hashem was shot, that America is really modern day Babylon. America is really modern day Babylon, and really that word America basically goes back to the word amarga or marga. Correct me if I'm wrong. Basically Hebrew for the word bitter. Why? Because this basically is a bitter ass place, man. We had a bitter captivity in the past. Hardcore bondage of people. We had Southern Kingdom get beat down because this kingdom was built up by way of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. All right, by the so-called blacks, and that's where you have the White House and the Capitol building. They really built by Jake, man. Southern Kingdom. Back in the hardcore bondage days, and so-called Hispanics. Why? Because we got Esau literally had the audacity to because it has perpetual hatred upon us. They literally strove against us, and that's where we have the Mexican-American War, where they basically took our land. All right, with that Great Old Recession. All right, they took over the Alamo, then they had taken over the rest of the West. All right, California used to be a part of Issachar land, man. But then Esau took that away, and also by way of the Native Americans, because he ended up kicking them out, huddling them into reservations, and basically ended up taking over the territory. Nothing but rape, rob, and murder. All right. So basically, this kingdom or queendom, if you will, because this queendom is effeminate as fuck, man. All right, this queendom was really built off the tears, man, off of Jake, man. So because of that, the wasn't burning with fire, man. The hell with this place, man. Nothing precious here. All right, talking about having a future here. What future do you have in America, man? All right, as a matter of fact, when you have this truth that you're an Israelite, and knows you're an Israelite, you have this truth and you want to continue on and try and prosper in society, the hell with you, man. All right, the hell with you. Because it's place in your rest. And that's in the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter, verse 10. And we don't like people that want a life right here. Talking about starting off. Well, the economy is falling down right now, so to say that you want to start a business and make money is ridiculous, man. All right, it's really hypocritical because here it is, you guys prophesy about this, but then want to turn back the second behind camera and say that you want to do this and that. Well, no, man. All right, ponder about the future. As the scriptures say, set your affection on things above. All right, we lay up treasures in heaven, which basically want to meditate on the kingdom, if you will, man. All right, the kingdom is the only solution. The hell with this place, man. This prophecy is gonna fall down, and the kingdom will come. So just go with it, man. Just say your affection on things above. So this is the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter, verse 10. And we always bring out the same precepts, man. But that's the spirit, really. So this is the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter, verse 10, and it reads, "Arise ye." All right, and that's a commandment given to Jake, man. All right, us. Arise ye, arise Israel, and depart, which basically means to step away, man. All right, to leave, detach. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. This is not rest, because it is polluted. It is polluted, which that's polluted by way of its philosophies, man. All right, because what Esau does, they always feed you these mindsets and mentalities that you can be whatever you want, do whatever you want. All right, and that's where you have the Epicurean mindset, Epicureanism, basically, and that's basically been a thing since Greco times, all right, classical antiquity, which basically Esau's been ruling since back then, man. All right, he's been ruling since ancient Greece, man. But even then, before that, he's always had an upper status in various heathen kingdoms. All right, you had Haman, the Amalekite during the Persian Empire, if I'm not mistaken. So man, this damn devil has to go up because he's always usurped. He's basically a usurper, man. And he's supposed to be nothing. The scripture says he's the most business of men. So to say that he's supposed to be this and that, the high mighty man, that mentality that he has is going to be destroyed. Let's say the scriptures. So it is polluted, man. It shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. It's going to destroy you, man. All right, that's what they don't understand. All right, they want to comply with these philosophies that they could be whatever they want, not understanding the consequences that's at hand. All right, because of that independent spirit and whatnot, that's going to get destroyed, man. Because it goes against, it's basically it's basically transgression, if you will, the law. All right, and that's where it goes in the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, about the ordinances being changed by the inhabitants thereof. which I'm gonna get that out. So it's the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter. Or with me, Akim. And on down to verse 5, if I'm not mistaken. It's Esau, having the plans of the earth, which is that is a blessing. He's bound to change everything, and that's where you have iconoclasm as well. So this book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, verse 5, the earth also was defiled under the inhabitants thereof, which that word inhabitant basically means a dweller on earth, because they had transgressed, which that word transgression means to break, to sin. All right, so to say that sin basically can mean anything, that's odd, man. All right, talking about popping a woman before marriage is that's ridiculous, man. All right, it's nowhere in the scriptures, because transgression basically means a breaking of the law. All right, popping a woman before marriage is not a law. All right, that's basically marriage itself. So because they have transgressed the law, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant, therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. All right, and we're talking about that thermonuclear destruction that's at hand, and those few men left are the elect, man. All right, and the remnants of the heathen nations as well, because we understand that there's gonna be first fruits of everything. All right, once the 2/3 of every single nation gets wiped out, they're gonna, the first fruits, they're gonna need to bring back the other nations, man. All right, because the Lord ain't gonna have it to where he's gonna snap his finger like Thanos and automatically they're gonna come back out of thin air. No, there's already gonna be people here to bring it back to people. All right, so I wanted to get that out, but going back to Revelation, the 18th chapter, digressing back, go with me, Akim. The 7th verse, again, it says how much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, because Esau is prideful, man. All right, that's how he was programmed to be, a prideful ass MF, man. Which, forgive me my French, but we're pissed off, man, at this damn devil. So much torment and sorrow giver, so much torment and sorrow, which basically the Lord's gonna curse his place out by way of these prophecies, man. And that was the book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter, which Lord will get out soon. So, give her, for she is saved in her heart. I said a queen and no widow, and shall see no sorrow. All right, so now when I got the book of Proverbs, the 16th chapter, verse 18. Quick precept, then I'm gonna get out the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. Which is a direct precept that goes hand in hand with Revelation, because the scriptures, they're basically a puzzle people, So it's lucky about that. Proverbs 16th chapter. With me, I can. Want to know how pride goes before destruction? So Esau thinks that he could go on forever, and that man, he basically doesn't know that the Lord's coming in so deep in the night. He doesn't know that. So this is the book of Proverbs, the 16th chapter, verse 18, and it reads, "Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit," which basically, that word haughty basically means a boastful spirit, and that's what this damn devil is, boastful. He's boastful. So again, we read the whole thing. Pride goes before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. So he's gonna fall down, man. He's been falling since 1969. All right, and that's why when he touched set foot upon the moon, and also 1969 and 1970 was around the time when the other Abba-Vivens, respects be unto him, he came out with this truth, man. All right, so Shalom, Yahweh Shemu Shabarak Thamakim from the Soy White Vegas can call Yahweh Shemu Shai Khan. Which is all praise to Yahweh Shemu Shai, any of us. We're nothing but mouthpieces of people. And that's basically what it is, we're mouthpieces. But now going on to the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, verse 7. Or actually, I'm gonna start at verse 5. Getting the whole point. So, Salaki about that. Verse 5, it reads, "Sit thou silent, and it is a commandment given from the Lord to this damn devil, to daughter of Babylon." America as a whole, ultimately. Call Allah Yahweh Shemo Shabrakatah, I was a Kashalwan. But it goes on to say, "Sit thou silent and get thee in the darkness." And you have to realize, man, back in the ancient world, when you would enter a bustling city, a bustling town, it's like a town, it's like if you were to enter a rich economy, it would be bustling with noise, man. Or you'd always hear the women out there with the swirling the I forget what it was, but the grinding. They would always do grinding because basically a rich town was known by its bustling noises. But that's why it says right here, sit down silent, because this economy is falling down. All right, with that production, distribution, and you have something known as the three something of production. You have the what will be produced, how will it be produced, and to whom will it be produced to. All right, because we're finite resources, and that's the whole model of America, man. But now you're not gonna see any more production anymore, neither distribution, and you've been seeing how the effects of that since last year. All right, we had these mandates, and I brought that out in the live lesson I did earlier last night, going into how the Chamber of Commerce made that notion that with the lack of workers, there was no way to actually bring in supplies throughout the country from the west to the east. All right, because that's where you have the west, the freighters over there on the west coast right here. And basically what happens is that truck drivers bring the supplies in and they bring it across the country. But so you see those effects. It's gonna get worse very soon. All right. So right now, in some places, like right now in this city, they basically lifted the mask mandate since February, and there's still food coming in, but it's gonna be to the point where very soon it won't be like that. All right, now this place is really bustling. It's very very so it's basically stabilized, but very soon it's gonna fall down. It's like my rambling, but going on. Sit thou silent and get thee in the darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. And that's when the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, verse 7, the 31st chapter, verse 7, it goes into how this is a chief of nations. All right, this place is a chief of nations because it has a hedge over all nations. If I'm mistaken, it's a NATO where basically the European nations, they console amongst each other, but when they console amongst each other, they always make these agreements that they want this and that. But ultimately, it's up to America to decide what they want. So you can have the European nations agree on one thing, then America says another thing, and they go with that. Why? Because she has a hedge over all nations, man. And that's why she could talk shit about all the European countries, and they can't do anything. All right, because she's basically the chief of nations. That's how the Lord set it up. But that's why the Lord is stripping away everything from America slowly but surely. All right, one thing at a time, if you will. So, thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wrong with my people. I polluted my inheritance. Yeah, because we are the Lord's inheritance, and that's pursuant to the book of Psalms, the 16th. It's like the book of Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, verse 3. Not if I'm mistaken. Which I don't have to get that all. You can do that on your own time. But basically, we're the inheritance of the Lord. That's how the Lord ordained it. That we're His. We're His glory, if you will. So I was wrong with my people. Why? Yeah, because Jake went off as a nation, as a whole. So we have to get punished, and that's when the book of Amos, the 3rd chapter, verse 1. It goes into, if I'm mistaken, verse 1. It goes into how out of all the families of the earth, I've only known you, which is why I punished you. Brotherly paraphrasing right there. So I was also my people have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. Whose hand? Esau Edom. Because in the prior verse it says, daughter of the Chaldeans. All right, that's Edomites, man. Starting off with these elites. So and giving them into thine hand, thou didst show them no mercy. No mercy, man. All right, nothing but pain and bitterness and sorrow to our people, man. All right, when was the last time Esau's been nice to our people? All right, tell me when historical account. Never, man. All right, because even then, although he tries to be nice to you, the scriptures say, never trust an enemy. Actually, I'm gonna get that on the book of Sirach, the 12th chapter. You can see he's waiting. He's basically waiting for the backstab you, waiting for the right woman to backstab you, man. So, Lord wills that this is an edifying lesson. Psalms Sirach, the 12th chapter, verse 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy," who's our enemy? Esau Edom, number 1. All right, and one of the Akim over there from the teaching at the small sanctuary over there in Inglewood, the Akim, I forget his name, or the elder Salaki, the elder, he even brought that out, that Esau's our number 1 enemy. And Akim brought out, you only have the book of Amos, the 3rd chapter, verse 2. You only have I known of the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities, and that's what happened. All right, that's why we're in this bitch, anyways, man. In the first place, we're in this bitch, man. Forgive my French, but that word bitch basically means a yapping dog, and a woman's I can tell yapping dog because she barks a lot, right? All right, that's what America is known for because she's a great whore. But goes on to say, never trust an enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. And though he humble himself and go crouching, so he may look appeasing to your sight off the bat, but ultimately he's wicked as fuck, man. Almost like it at Anaseus. He brought out the Amos the third chapter, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. And that's a Yapa verse, man. Which basically sums up the whole point as to why we're here in this place in the first place. But that's when the book of Baruch, the third chapter, if I'm not mistaken, the second chapter goes into how we shall remember the name of the Lord. But like resting back. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. And that's how the Lord, programmed him to be nothing but a corrupt devil. But going back to Isaiah the 47th chapter, verse 6, thou didst show them no mercy. He showed us no mercy, man. All right, back then in hardcore bondage, what happened? What did he do to Jake, man? All right, Southern King, the elderly and the young. All right, he threw young Jake, young Judites, basically young Southern Kingdom, and used them for alligator bait, man. All right, alligator bait, and threw them into the swamps. Why? To get alligators, All right, he basically slew the old people. Basically, the thing you see in that movie, the boy with striped pajamas, that's the same way Esau treated our people, man. The book of Psalms, the 55th chapter, 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but what was in his heart? His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And you could apply that to what happened with with all the treaties that Esau made with Jake, man. With Gadites, with Gad. He always making these treaties saying that we shall give you this land and whatnot, and we're not gonna take anything. We're not gonna. But they did the same. But they basically did the same thing, man. They transgressed the treaties that they wrote with Gad. That's why you can't trust this damn devil for anything. But going back, it says, upon the ancient has thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And we're the only ones that have the yoke of iron placed upon our neck, man. When was the last time you saw an Ammonite have a yoke upon his neck? What about a damn Moabite? When did you see Ishmael with the yoke of iron? Never, man. There's no historical account to where you've seen that, man. Only us. But going on, it says, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things of thy heart. Which that word heart goes back to the Hebrew word la'ab, which basically means mind. All right, that's where the spirit resides. All right, that's where your consciousness is, the brain, the mind. All right, it's not gonna be your heart because your heart doesn't have its own consciousness. If that was so, then basically you guys would be waging war against each other. Emotions versus common sense. But that's where the word heart basically means your mind. Which is why the apostles always, make it known that you're supposed to understand the words, man. Understand the words that you're reading. So neither didst thou remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, and that word, thou that art, in verse 8 is basically written in the italic font. Italic basically referring to a certain people, and that's Esau. So therefore, hear now this, thou that art, and that's Esau Edom. Thou that art given to pleasures, that doest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know lots of children. But you're basically gonna suffer Salaki for my stuttering. So hear this, because it's gonna follow you anyways, man. All right, and although you don't lay it to heart, although you basically ignore what's happening, all these prophecies is coming into play, the Lord's still gonna smite you down. And that's where the words always go into how it should be as a thief in the night. Because you guys aren't considering. So it shall come upon you as a thief in the night. You gotta, which doesn't have to necessarily be a thief in the night. You could get robbed in the daytime when you expect it because you're at work, you're by yourself. So just like that, that's all Lord's gonna come at you, man. Lord's gonna come at you with all these plagues off the bat. Now I want to get to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. So it's like my rambling as well. 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, verse I'm gonna start at verse 18. And Yaki brought out Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, verse 39. And Khan, that's the one I was thinking about. Oh, Salakia. Kind of a precept. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Which, if you go to the book of Hebrews, the Hebrews, the 10th chapter, verse 31, when it says, "Out of my hand," basically means the destiny of man. Because the Lord can do as He pleases, so He could basically destine us to die and whatnot. He did the same thing with one of His prophets that broke a fast. All right, he had his prophet get deceived, and what happened was that after he broke the fast after getting deceived, the Lord prepared a beast to kill him, man. And that was one of His prophets. One of His prophets. The Lord can mess you up, man. You know, Proverbs the 16th chapter verse 4. The Lord has made all things for Himself, yet even the wicked for the day of evil will come. So the Lord's about to bring judgment on this damn devil, man. Because he's the wicked, and that's pursuant to the book of Malachi, the first chapter verse 4. All right, he shall be known as the Lord of wickedness. Going on to verse 18, it says, "The beginning of sorrows and great mournings." And now, people first rejected that. They all started condemning us for being doom and gloom, all doom and gloom. But now they're actually bringing it out themselves because they understand that we're the true men of the Lord. The Lord were those men. That's what we claim to be the hope. That's what we say that we're the hopeful elect. Hopeful meaning we hope to be, or we believe to be. So at the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, and now you're seeing that everywhere. All right, this same verse being brought out everywhere on the articles. Now you go on the end time headlines, and it's right there. All right, that's a plantation Christianity, news headline thing. News headline written by a plantation Christian. It goes on to say the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine. All right, we're headed for great famine and great death. All right, that's where you go into the word woe, which that word woe means death and destruction. Because all this is going to befall the people very soon. Why? Because it's basically judgment of people. So the beginning of wars, and we're already hearing about wars, man. So Lord, what things continue to speed up, man, because we want to see some action right now. We want to see World War III come to play, because it's written in the scripture. It's prophesied that there should be a third war. All right, and we want that. We want all these prophecies to come to pass, so we can get out this bitch, man. The hell, man. We don't like waiting, man. We have to wait, but it's really hard, man. We be having our hard days, off days, and given the fact that we have to go through this, man, it's stressful, man. But that's what the scriptures always say, endure unto the end, which that word endure basically means to patiently suffer. So the Lord will be basically upheld, which that word upheld basically means to be strengthened by the Lord. So the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, which that word plague, I try to find out in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Basically, plague doesn't necessarily mean a bubonic plague like a disease. It could also refer to the punishments happening on America, like a famine. That's considered a plague. All right, the trumpet is considered a plague. A trouble is considered a plague. And the other apostle Tahar even brought that out when he was breaking down the Revelation. I forget what chapter it was. It's basically a trumpet, a trouble, and plague. They're basically interchangeable with each other. So the whole famine and plague, tribulation and anguish, which that word tribulation basically means a disaster or a calamity, a troubling time, and anguish, which basically you already know that word means agony, are sent as scourges for amendment, or for correction's sake, man. So Lord, man, He's tired of this wickedness, and the Lord is of righteous power. These are the true judgment. All right, He's gonna bring all this judgment upon the face of the earth. Why? Because wickedness is exceedingly polluted the whole earth. And that was in the 15th chapter, 2nd Ezra. Going on, Slovakia. Verse 20. But for all these things, or for all these things that have been happening, and are going to continue to happen, they shall not turn from their wickedness. Are you guys going to turn from your wickedness? You guys going to stay in that mind? You guys going to stay in that sleep? All right, and you seen that by way of Kodak Black. All right, Kendrick Lamar. You had that one clown. I forget his name, but talking about Israelites, Zion, Yahweh, the Lord, and all of a sudden they end up being reverting back to the same clown they once was. All right, nothing but a fool. Eating pork and whatnot. But once upon a time they actually couldn't be Israelites, man. So that's why these people out here, they end up going back to the sleep. They're gonna get destroyed, man. They're gonna get surprised by the Lord and get destroyed. Especially then that end up falling off this word, because falling off this truth is worse than suicide, man. All right, because man, you don't know what was gonna befall you, and as a matter of fact, if you follow this truth, and you're not being dealt with, you're gonna have tons of shame upon you, and that's scriptural, man. that those that wait to everlasting life, and then those that wake up to everlasting shame and contempt. So you guys not feel shameful, man, for digressing back. But for all these things, they shall not turn from the wickedness, which that word wickedness basically means immorality, and that's what Esau opposed, man. All right, he brings you, he tells you that you can do whatever you want, be whatever you want. That's the philosophy itself, man. All right, now you got the when it goes into the fornication, basically going to idolatry, man. All right, and you could basically idolize anything, man. You know, idolizing football, you know, that's a form of idolizing idolatry. So because of that, that's literally wicked, man. That's literally that's basically against the scriptures. It's going to destroy you for that, man. So, nor be always mindful of the scourges. You guys aren't mindful. You guys end up going back to sleep, man. But I just want to bring that point out. And now I want to get out the book of 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, verse 1 through 6. Slacky if I didn't make sense. Now I want to get the book of 1 Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. Slacky about that. Go with me out here. Alright, 5th chapter. And you've been seeing this last year, man. Not only do you have to see on the news from the nobles, if you will, basically being these representatives, all right, these spokespersons out there, all right, the president and whatnot. It could just be your normal day pastor, man, telling you about peace and safety. Well, you get destroyed for that, man, because what these people, first of all, they get scared, then they seek counsel, which that word counsel basically means advice from so-called advisors, if you will. Which really they ain't shit, man. And then they end up going back to that same old state they was once in, talking about peace and safety, and that's it. That's the end of that. But that's why your destruction is gonna come as a thief in the night. All right, because you guys have been filled with this peace and safety BS, and that's where you go into the scriptures about an itching ear. I forget what preacher that was, but something about them having an itching ear, which that word itching basically means want a pleasure. So you basically want to hear what you want to hear, man. You don't want to hear this evil. Well, so be it, man. All right, the evil's gonna come regardless, man. So the book of 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you know, which that word season is basically twofold for an actual season, such as a spring, which is the beginning of the year, which we're in spring right now. Or you got summer, you got fall, you got winter. Those are forms of seasons, but you also got season as in a period of time, and that's where you get your word your Greek word aeon. All right, which that word aeon basically means a perpetual time, you know, a period of time, and that's where you actually get your English word eon, because that word eon descends from the Greek word aeon. You know, that's the power of words, man. That's why we're supposed to look into these words, because we understand that definition and we actually understand the scriptures better, understanding these certain words. Because you could just overlook a word in the technicality, like the word world, but the word world in the Greek has 3 different meanings, man. You know, but digressing back, but the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Why? Because like I said earlier, we have the answers, man. We have the answers to these things. You know, so call Allah Yahweh Hashem and the water Yahweh Hashem and we have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which is only given unto us. All right, and that's in the book of Amos, the 2nd chapter, if I'm mistaken, going into correct me if I'm wrong again. Amos, the 2nd chapter, going into how the Lord surely doeth nothing, but He revealeth His secrets unto His servants, the prophets. Roughly paraphrasing right there. Which those servants of prophets are us, Lord will, man. Why? Because we've been doing these lessons, man. You know, and if we start trying to prevent this word from being brought out, we do it in a different shape or form. Digressing back. You have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. All right, we have the understanding. We know what's going to happen, man. For when they shall say peace and safety, and they've been saying peace and safety, man, forever, man. All right, decades by way of the plantation Christianity, Jehovah wickedness, and Catholic BS that you guys be going to. All right, your so-called temples, which really they ain't temples for shit, man. All right, the scriptures even say that the Lord dwelleth not in temples built by men. All right, which that's in the book of Acts 7, chapter verse 48, which that was Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, I forgot how to pronounce his name, but basically he was through the Spirit prophesying and bringing these things to remembrance before he got slew, being the first martyr for the anointed. And that's where he said that the Lord does not dwell in the temples built by men. Roughly paraphrasing right there. You know, actually, as a matter of fact, the word church basically means a congregation, and we're a congregation. and churches out in the highways and hedges, man. All right, out in the highways and hedges, like Yahweh Shai ordained it. Come into the highways and hedges for everybody to see us. That's what we say. Then shall thy eyes see thy teachers. So for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right, you guys are not gonna escape the judgment. You guys are gonna basically, this world is basically a prison, if you will. All right, there's boundaries if you will. You can't escape it. All right, so if you're not being if you're wicked, if you're not the elect, and you're a 2/3 or you're a damn heathen, the Lord's gonna destroy you, man. Happily. Why? Because he's pissed off and he has an indignation, man. He's not pleased with the wickedness right here. So he's going to be happily destroy this place, man. And you along with it, man. So that's why we say, Lord, we are the elect. We hope we will. So, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light. Why? Because we have the knowledge. And the children of the day, we are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others. Let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us while the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope for salvation. For Yahweh not appointed us to wrath, right? Because as we say, he has predestined us, which that word predestined basically means to ordain you aforetime, or ordain you aforetime. He predestined us before the foundations of the world. Because this is basically his movie. He already set up the plot, man. He's not going along with it out the bat. No, he already ordained the plot. Right, this is gonna be the characters. This is basically gonna be the story and whatnot, and he actually, plays it out. So, for Yahweh not appointing us to wrath. Why? Because that's the elect speaking. Paul is the elect, man. But to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and that salvation, is coming. And that's gonna be a second advent. It's gonna come in with the chariots. So again, go over those men. But I'm gonna end it off in the book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter. Which I was going to bring out in the beginning. But the Barayah by Shema Hashem get it out now. Verse 16. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Which that word shaking is basically these prophets out here rebuking this place. Are rebuking America. And that's what we always do, man. You always look at the brothers' videos, and they're always cursing out the freaking surroundings. It goes to the point where basically curse the cement. All right, what does cement do? Nothing. It's basically not alive. But we hate it, man. We hate cement because it's basically the defilement of the land. All right, everything is tainted. So we basically condemn everything. We condemn our society, our surroundings. The whole these people as well, man. So that's basically what it means by shaking. But also another form of shaking that refer to these prophecies, hitting America, man. All right, that's shaking. Because when we curse out this place, we're also we're prophesying against it, man. So these prophecies come in the past as a form of shaking as well. I'm mistaken. So and they shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. And why? What does it mean by that? I'm not talking about the land of Judah because that's basically a continent away, man. That's a great pond away, which is the Atlantic. When it says in the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, is referring to how Judah woke up first, and then after that with Judah, and that's why the elder Abba Vivens respects be unto him, because it was men like him that actually brought the truth about. So because Judah woke up first, man, and after that it was the rest of the tribes along with it. Right? You had Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, Gad, all the tribes after Judah. So in the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, which Egypt is referring to America, man. And that's referring to the book of Revelation, 11th chapter, verse 8. So I get for first talking quickly, but that word Egypt basically is spiritual for America, man. Why? Because the word Egypt means house of bondage. All right, and we're in a house of bondage right now. We're in captivity. So that's really referring to America. Everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid of in himself, because the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he had determined against him. So with that being set up, this video was edifying. The Lord will continue to push. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Arachakudash, the bonus of the apostles and others like the millstone, who were well unto us 100% truth. Much peace and blessings to you, hopeful, let the pushing out this word of thought, truth, and sincerity. All you walking Mr. Shalom. Father Baldi to you soon. Go Shalom.